Hello, everybody in Wilmot and beyond. I'm not sure if we're a global broadcast yet or not, but welcome again to the New Hamburg Board of Trade podcast. Joined with co-host here, as always, Gina Rattan. Hi, Gina.
Good morning or afternoon, depending on when you're listening to this. Excited to be back for our second episode of the second season, I guess.
That's right.
But we'll call it. Yeah. And excited to have with us the ladies from Gaia's Gardens, Sarah and Erin. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining us today and taking some time out of, I'm quite sure what is a busy schedule right now, finishing up everything for the year. We're happy to have you with us.
Thanks for having us. We're happy to be here.
Exciting.
Super. So we're gonna get the rundown of Gaia's Gardens, how you guys came to be, and where'd you come up with the name? I guess you could start with maybe.
Okay. Well, I'm Erin. Just
Oh yes.
so everyone knows.
The
Sarah.
dynamic, introduce the dynamic duo here.
Right. We said we usually answer to either, so that's fine. You want to talk about Gaia?
Sure. Okay, so we both have, well, maybe if we start with our story here a bit, it kind of explains where the name came from. So we're stepsisters, and we grew up, my stepmom, Erin's mother, was a gardener. So we grew up gardening with her, and just kind of became part of our life. A lot of my high school and university experience was working in garden centers and doing landscaping. So it was kind of in the background, but it was always thought of as sort of a summer job. So one year, our parents asked us to relay this interlock patio that we had. We have 6 brothers combined with us, and they asked the 2 girls to do it. So during that patio, I remember saying, like, well, we should just start a landscaping company someday. And we joked about it, and we had crazy dreams, and we still have crazy dreams, but it was kind of a joke then. And it was, again, sort of that, a lot of that was seen as a summer job. When we carried off to university, we each went our separate ways, and I got my degree in earth sciences. And when we finally came back, I'll let Erin tell her side of it too, but when we finally came back to Ontario together, joined back up again, and both ended up landing in New Hamburg, and both looking for a job and a change of direction. We decided, let's just sort of wing it and start up this landscaping company.
Yeah, and I had done a degree in environmental studies and geography, and worked for a bit, and then also did sort of it was a postgraduate certificate program through Seneca College King Campus in outdoor education and recreation, just for a year. So that was like trip guiding and stuff like that. Yeah, lots of outdoor stuff, and then moved to Calgary for a few years and worked at another landscaping company, and sort of worked through their construction, their maintenance crews, their lawn crews, and then sort of ran their greenhouse there for a little bit. So always doing outdoor things, but same thing. We were always looking for like the career, right? Because we had gone to university, and you come out thinking you're gonna magically find something, but and like I did snow removal a couple winters, and that was, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's just you're on call 24/7, so
Tiring.
it was a little crazy, a little much. So I always thought, oh, this isn't a real job because I don't have work all year. But anyways, yeah, moved back to Ontario, and then we thought, what the heck? We didn't have any kids and no really other options throwing themselves at us. So yeah, we thought, why not?
We thought we'll just buy a truck, and if it doesn't work out, well, then I guess we own a truck.
Yeah.
Low
the
cost
worst
to
way it can
entry.
end
That's
up.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we thought our husbands have like real jobs, so worst case scenario. They're
So
still
what
paying
year
the
was
bills.
that in? How long ago was
Um,
that?
That was in 03.
We registered the
Oh,
business.
wow.
in 2003.
So almost 20 years. That's insane.
Yeah. So we had sort of the name, we were looking for something with a little bit more creativity or a little bit more uniqueness. So in 2003, what we saw was a lot of the landscaping companies were run by men. And they were named AA or AAA landscaping.
Yep.
And that was like this goal to get at the top of the yellow pages list, right? How the world has changed. But we were like, well, how would you remember if you called AA landscaping or AAA landscaping? So we thought we want something a little bit more unique that shows our creativity, shows a little bit of our background and our earth, science background, and that we're women. And so we stumbled upon Gaia, who is the Roman goddess for Mother Earth. So we thought, well, that's pretty cool. And so that was Gaia's Garden. So that was the fall of 2003. We registered the business.
Sweet.
And I was still in school at that point. Erin was finishing or doing some jobs in the fall a little bit, and I was finishing. Well, I don't know if you did stuff in the fall too, or was it just the spring? Yeah. And then the spring, I graduated in probably April or May or whatever. And so, yeah, she did some stuff by herself, a gigantic retaining wall by herself. And then we were off to the races. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the creativity of the name, and learn something new about Greek mythology today. I did not think I was going to do that. And
the
great
other
story.
The other tie is the like in the 60s, 70s, this James Lovelock came out with a Gaia theory, Gaia hypothesis, which is that the earth is like a living system and everything you do has an impact on everything else. So that sort of also brought in our environmental background and our wanting to do things a little more earth friendly, I guess.
Right. Sustainably. Yeah.
It just
That's
sometimes, this is a little off topic, but it blows my mind how, they were having these conversations 50, 60 years ago. And unfortunately, not much has changed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of segues us into the next question about what kind of services you and your team offer. Obviously, you have the background in environmental sciences, and kind of, it seems like you're focused on more of a sustainable practice. So what do you guys do exactly?
Yeah, we do really anything related to gardens. No, we don't do lawn care. It is not something we enjoy, and there's plenty of people out there who just like to mow the lawn, and they don't want to, deal with the different kinds of plants and stuff. So there's plenty of people to do that. We do garden, so new garden install, design and install, gardens that are crazy out of control and people need them sort of, we call them the gardens gone wild. Patios, flagstone patios are kind of maybe one of our specialties. We do some interlock stuff. Again, there's a lot of people who just do interlock. So if, we incorporate it into what we do. Flagstone, yeah, water features, maintenance of gardens for people throughout the year, consultations. Sarah does a lot of people who just need help or just need ideas. They love gardening, but they're not, are looking for some creative solutions to some problems. She'll go out for an hour and meet with you and talk about your specific yard and answer questions, give you like a little quick sketch or some input on what's happening there. So that's a thing that lots of people have found helpful. I guess we think our niche kind of is that we have creative and unique ideas for people. We're good at problem solving, and coming up with creative solutions to things that are frustrating people, and creative and functional. So those are our two goals, really. And minimizing maintenance, listening to our customers and really trying to understand what they want, what their unique situation is. Every yard is different, every garden is different, every person uses their property in a different way. So really understanding, like, what do you do in your yard? Like, do you come out and sit here? Do you like to sit here? There's no point putting a patio over here if you find you're always sitting over here, right?
Yep.
Like just little things like that. Just listening to what they want and trying to then give our advice and feedback. Like, if you want to do that, but that's not going to work because of this or that. But how can we figure out a way to come up with something that will work and will meet sort of your dream? So, and lots of yards where people, other companies are, you know, they don't want to deal with what you have. They'd rather just come in, take everything out and do something entirely new, which a lot of times people are like, do I have to do all new? And like, no, you don't. But it's a lot more challenging to price a job and to come up with a solution when you're leaving half the things there, and how to convey that to the customer, like coming up with a plan that incorporates some things that they still have, and adding some new things in is a lot more challenging, but we like challenge. So, yeah.
Yeah, outdoor living in every space, every, as you say, every yard, every person wants their own sort of unique input on it. So if you're able to facilitate that, you know, you end up with a lot of happy customers at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you do this kind of like all over. I know you're based in New Hamburg, but I'm assuming you kind of go outside and into KW, Stratford area, those kind of things.
Yeah, sort of out to Stratford. We do kind of down to Ayr, I would say, is about the furthest we go that way. And then out to, we have a customer in Plislinch. That's kind of our max that way. And then, yeah, for sure, Waterloo, Elmira, St. Jacobs kind of thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Very urban territories for sure, and some rural spots too, I bet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, lots of
nice
farm
diversity.
properties and yeah, very city, small backyard properties all the way to like 100-acre farms, right? So yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
That'll be, yeah, it's nice to have the variety, right?
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure, for sure. For sure.
We never are never doing the same thing very often.
Yeah. You guys have been involved in our community in New Hamburg specifically. You were the designer for the new water fountain, well, redesign, I guess. It looks great. And, you know, sort of talk to us. We started the conversation, but what do you guys really enjoy about working in our community?
So one thing that sticks out to me, we both came here in 2003 knowing nobody. Like, we're not from here. We don't have grandparents or cousins. So we kind of landed in this community just because it was so beautiful. Like, thought, oh, it's so gorgeous. The river runs through the town. And as we were starting up this business, we thought, like, we got to get to know some people, you know, if we want to start this business and find our place in this town. So we sort of stumbled across the Board of Trade. And remember, back then they had a little phone book with the Board of Trade was on the front, the water wheel. And we thought, if we could get into part of this Board of Trade, we get to know some people. And so we called around and got a hold of some people and got into that. And I remember going into those meetings being young and like, again, not knowing
25 and 27.
Yeah, not knowing anybody and thinking like, holy smokes, what are we doing? But there was such a welcoming community, and there was a lot of younger women in business in our community, and we felt kind of heard, and people were interested in what we were doing. And sort of treated us with respect and listened to us, and that felt pretty welcoming and great to be, noticed in a new community where you don't know anybody.
Mhm. Yeah, and you said it's such a beautiful town. It has so much potential. We've always thought such a nice community and a nice location, and yeah, just pretty downtown. There's always something going on in New Hamburg. Like, this seems to be like people have just groups that are trying to like do things, or community fun. Like, we were involved with the gingerbread house contest for a long time, and like just things like that that are like sort of fun and family oriented, and there's always ways to be involved, and everyone's more than happy to have you come along and give some input and whatever. There's lots of, I think there's lots of big dreamers in this community for sure.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I'm happy to hear that, even back, in 03, being women, being young, that the community was, open and ready to help you get on your feet with the business. That's always really encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
It was a good start back then, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Fond memories, yeah.
Yeah. Back when we used to do all the jobs. Yeah.
Yes.
All the
Yeah,
jobs
right.
yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
I bet you had some surprise customers when you were building retaining walls and everything.
Yeah, we have a lot of great stories.
Yeah.
There were a lot of experts out there trying to give us good advice. So
Yes.
I'm sure they were all quite keen on the subject and knowledgeable.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Some good, some bad,
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just nod your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
We got good at that.
Yeah.
A skill of business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess kind of going up to present day now, we know that the pandemic has unfortunately hit industries in different ways, creating shortages of materials for projects. Have any of these kind of affected your business?
Yes, we did. We have run into a lot of shortages with hardscaping materials, so pavers, paving slabs, interlock. So that started happening last summer, where we had maybe quoted out some larger jobs in the spring, expecting to use certain material, and colors and stuff were picked, and then going to order and finding that it was not available, or it was not in production anymore, or that the production date was bumped to September. Well, now it's bumped to October. Well, now it's bumped to November. And knowing this is a seasonal business, we only have a certain amount of time before the snow comes. We had one job last year, which is a fairly big job. We had it all excavated out, and the base material put in, and we had no product to lay this patio with. So thinking, is she going to sit there with a big pile of stone dust in her backyard for the winter, or what's going to happen here? She got young kids. So there was some of those concerns there. We ended up finding a product that worked, she liked, was going to work out. And so we got it installed and everything was fine. That was kind of the biggest. There was a couple of jobs like that where what we had quoted out was not available anymore. And then there was some plant delays last year, and plant weren't available. So we went into this year with a bit of that preparedness from last year and said, okay, like, we need to be upfront with people and say, we might not be able to find this. You're gonna have to be flexible. Sure, we can find something that's gonna work, but it might be different than what you had envisioned. Do you want to wait? Do you want to go ahead? Do you want to? Basically, you're gonna have to be flexible. We'll all have to be flexible, and we've been pretty good just having that mindset this year of, we'll find something and we'll make something work, and if we won't, well, then there's always plan B. And so, going into that with an open mind, it's worked out so far.
And we always say there are actually no landscaping emergencies, so we're pretty good.
Believe it or not, yeah, I guess there's no landscape emergencies.
I'm like, there could be some drainage problems, might be the only exception to
Yes.
that. But,
Right.
Right.
but
Yeah.
really, I mean, we're fortunate to be able to wait on things if we need to, because as frustrating it is to not see your garden be turned around or get your new patio. It's at the end of the day not gonna really hurt you to wait for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, or people that have
Especially
to be, some of the things we've had to put off, and yeah, like Erin said, it's a frustration, but that's about it. We can't complain too much about.
And I'm sure people are starting to get used to the, pandemic has affected everything, including your brand new patio.
Yeah, and that we went into that season just letting people know, hey, there are shortages everywhere. And people, if they didn't already know it, coming in saying, oh, I completely understand. They've been great. Like, we have great
That's
customers.
awesome.
So people have been totally understanding, and lots of last minute changes are saying, we can't get this product. So how does this look? What are your thoughts? And people have been good.
Yeah. On one hand, you've got a lot of people wanting to do outdoor or indoor renovations for that
Yeah.
matter. So
Yeah.
were you guys really busy as well as a result?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that it's actually been, crazy busy because everyone's home.
Yeah.
Not spending money on their vacations, so they're spending money to make the staycation more beautiful. So
Exactly.
that's sort of been, it's been great.
Got to be able to
We've had
unwind somewhere.
Yeah.
We've had no shortage of work. We've had great staff this year again.
Every year, yeah.
And so we're really pretty lucky that we're in the situation we're in. If our biggest complaint is that we have too much work or we have to turn away work, then we're
Not doing bad.
to have that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear as well.
Yeah.
And the season's changing, it's about that time where I'm, getting my jeans out again and putting the shorts away. And I'm looking at my own yard, my own gardens at home. And I'm thinking, I don't have a green thumb. I hope this stuff grows back in the spring. What should I be doing to get my garden and my property ready for the winter?
So there's a huge variation in what people want to do for their fall cleanups. Well, on one hand, you have somebody who wants everything in their garden cut back. They want all the leaves out. They want it to look tidy and clean. They don't want their leaves blowing across their lawn or in their neighbor's yard. So you get that person. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have someone that wants to leave the leaves in the garden, let them break down over the winter. They want the seed heads left up for the birds to feed on through the winter. They want nesting areas for animals. And then you get people in the middle. They want maybe a little bit left up. They want their grasses left up, but they want, their leaves out, for example. So, there are advantages to doing it in all ways. It's messy. If you leave everything in your garden, it's messy. And if we don't get there first thing in the spring, it's blowing on your neighbor's lawn. And then they're calling and saying, when are you coming? It's a mess. But at the same time, that offers protection and, like I said, winter habitat for animals. At the end of the day, everybody wants something different. And so again, we learn to communicate with our customers and be flexible and say, what would you prefer? We could do this or this. What is your preference? And knowing what they like and how they like it done. And like I said, each way has its advantages. So it's personal preference for the customer.
Yeah.
There's no one right way to do it.
No.
You could argue the right way for either of those options,
Right.
right? One is messy, one is better for animals. Well, what is your preference in your own area, in your own yard, right?
Mhm.
Very, very little difference in the health of your plant, whether you cut it down or leave it for the winter. It really doesn't matter. It will continue to do its thing next year regardless. our own personal preferences, like I typically leave things and like to have leaves on the garden to compost. That's one thing that I think is really beneficial. And then clean out in the spring. But also maybe that just happens because I don't have time for my own garden. Because that very much depends on how nice the weather is. Like some years you get motivated and the weekends are beautiful and you get out and do some cutting down of stuff, but typically kind of leave it. And then also very early in the spring, then it gives me something to do because I'd like to get out there as soon as I can. And if there's a nice day, it's so nice to go out and get into the dirt.
Yeah, well, I think my dog would really like it if I just left everything for the
Yeah.
animal habitat.
Yes. Make some new friends.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's different. Like we're both on farm properties as well. So I mean, it's different out here where no one else is, you don't have neighbors who really care. Like in town, I definitely see the people, the point of kind of keeping things tidy, and you know, you don't want to be that house on the street that's got
The
everything.
wild garden.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do, I don't know.
There are ornamental grasses that you left up over the winter and now blowing all over your neighbor's lawn and
Into their pool.
into their pool. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to keep
Yeah.
the pool clean.
Yeah.
So when I cannonball into the neighbor's pool, I don't get come
Yeah.
out looking like a swamp monster.
Yes.
Right.
I guess this brings us, I think, to our last question, which is, what do you guys like to do in the off season?
Oh, sleep, hibernate. We have this was a big thing because like we said, we're always thinking, oh, what will I do for the winter? And now that we're into this so far, it's like, man, thank goodness we have the winter, because couldn't go at this pace for all year. It would be crazy, absolutely crazy. And it's so nice to have the downtime to, you know, we stay at home moms for a couple of months is about good. And then back out into adult world. This will be your first winter at home with no kids.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've always
wow.
had my kids I've always had at least one, if not more kids at home with me this year. Last year was supposed to be her first year because she was in JK last year. But instead I did homeschooling over the winter, which I do not enjoy doing. So that is not something that I want to do again. So this year with her being an SK, it'll be, hopefully if they're in school all year, it'll be my first year at home by myself in the winter.
Yeah, we look back at years gone by, I think, well, we each have 4 kids, so there would be going to the mall with anywhere from, I don't know, 6 kids, like usually.
One of us pregnant, 6 kids through the mall in the dead of winter, and we think like people must have just looked at us like,
You have a
"Who are
daycare?
these?" Yeah, well, it's just our kids.
So yeah, lots of that. Well, we have our friends own chocolate bars, candies in Stratford, and they have a lot of big Christmas orders. So we go in and help them for a few weeks, end of November, early December, prepping orders for some companies, and you know, many gift baskets and wrapping boxes and
Yeah, working with chocolate, that sounds hard.
yeah,
Right.
Horrible.
terrible.
Nice to go in and do a 9 to 5 punch in, punch out, and just get baskets ready for Christmas, right? Like it's a nice change from running your own business and trying to get things done and the stress of all of that to going in and just kind of
Well, I can go home after this and not worry about anything.
Yeah.
Right.
take some
You
chocolate
can
home with
switch
me.
off.
Yeah. And it's a nice transition because I do find it a little difficult to go from like such high speed, intense summer to like doing nothing, like essentially. I mean, momming.
But
You're busy at home, but you're not having the
but it's
hectic
very
schedule.
hard to like go from that
yeah,
full speed to very slow speed. So this is
Yeah.
it's like a nice transition to ease us
Yeah.
out of the chaos and then decorate for Christmas and bake and spend the winter napping and cleaning.
doing some laundry.
Yeah.
I don't know if we told you this before, but it definitely a prerequisite of coming on the podcast was an offering of baked goods by all guests.
Yeah.
Well, you'll just have to wait till January.
Yeah.
I think we can wait. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, by the time we get to March, we're out peeking through the gardens. I think that's a daffodil coming up. I
Yeah.
think, oh my gosh, I've got some crocuses coming. And then we get the itch and we're ready to get back out.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
And
Like-
definitely a day or 2 a week during the winter where we've got filing to do because we
yeah,
kind of let
Yeah.
that go.
yeah,
Yeah.
All the financial stuff.
Financial stuff, assessing the year to see what went well and what didn't, and like T4s and taxes and then
Ah,
planning.
Those
Planning.
taxes,
Yeah,
that paperwork, I tell you.
yeah, it's a
not
drag.
typically not the reason anyone goes into business, but it's something everyone has to deal with, right?
That's right.
But yeah, it gives us a chance to really reflect, I guess, too, which is nice because I feel like that benefits us in a big way. We've had once we have some rest and kind of rehash what happened.
Yeah, you can look at it with fresh eyes.
Fresh
Yeah.
start each year. Like, I think we are really lucky that we get that winter downtime.
Mhm.
We talk about that a lot, right? Businesses that just don't have a downtime, that just go 12 months of the year, like how do you get a chance to step back and look at it and say, like, this was great, this was terrible, let's change this. You know, if we went at this speed, or people say, oh, you should move to Vancouver or Florida, you could garden all year. And we were like, why would
I
we
don't
want
want
to do
to.
that? Need a break.
Yeah.
Intense.
I like getting up a little later and sitting with a coffee by the fire for
Yeah.
2 hours if I want.
Yeah.
That's fair. It would be an early start for the summer, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
Yes.
everybody rolls in here about at 7, and so I'm
Yeah.
planning at 6. And
Definitely.
yeah, it's good though. The day flies by. Our staff always say that. They're like, God, I never look at my watch at this job. And when I do, I'm always like, holy cow, how did it get to be that time already?
Yeah.
Yeah. Blink and you
And
miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Sounds like you've got dedicated staff. You guys are passionate about what you do. So what could be better than that?
Yep. We have great students. This community is full of awesome young people, that's for sure. Yeah, that's sort of one of my favorite parts of this business is we get to meet so many kids going through university and college and seeing that enthusiasm for, you know, a life ahead of them full of kind of possibility and just trying to like be sort of a meaningful experience on their path, right? Like teaching them to work hard and see the reward and what they can actually do. Half the time they come in, they're like, I don't even know how I'm gonna. The one girl, I always remember her saying, I couldn't even lift the side of the dump truck the first 2 days. And I go home and I was so sore and so tired. And she goes, at the end of the summer, I can like lift that thing up all by myself, no problem.
Yeah.
It's that there's something empowering about, you know, all of that. So it's so great to have a chance to, you know, like I said, be a part of their story. And I have lots of them. They still message us and send us pictures of their gardens and their houses, and they're married and they have kids, and like it's a really cool thing.
That would be really cool, kind of full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping by today to chat with us. And I think we've learned a lot about, you know, where Gaia's Garden started and, you know, gardening in general, for sure. I'm not going to worry too much about my fall cleanup this year, I don't think.
Yeah. Don't stress. Those
Right.
names are okay.
So thanks so much for coming on and sharing your history and your experiences. It's been really wonderful to get to chat with both of you.
Yes, thank you for having us. That
Yeah.
was a great opportunity for us too.
Yeah,
Super.
thanks for doing this. It's really cool.
All right. Yeah, thanks again. And best of luck with wrapping up the season.
Yes.
Thank you.